about to do a bush food demo here, mate, or some
wow.
wild raspberries.
I
But
watch?
seeing you around it, you can try one, mate.
Okay. Wow.
Right.
Berries.
You want to try one?
Mm.
What we did was, as a part of our land care project, was we looked at natural things like blackberries that keep people out away from the riverways and that, so we thought we'd put raspberries here and use some of the natives that have got spikes on them in the zone, and we removed the lantana, and there's still a lot of work in that area with lantana, but you're going to see a massive effort by our coast care that we've done out here over the last 4 years. 14 years ago, that there was not one tree here, not one. What we will show you is when we get down a bit close to the creek and some of the river oaks, there is only a few here, and that's evident in that picture I passed around earlier. But all of this has been the efforts of community. Well, what we did through Land Council, because I run Land Council here also, so I have a benefit because that's resourced. And through it we've been able to apply for successful grants, and we just finished close on $400,000 worth of work in the zone over a 4-year period. And you'll see all that weed work they've done here with Morning Glory and Lantana as they made a major dent on this site. Now I brought my sons and daughter that you've seen there this morning, and my other little fella's not here, Kuradji. But we came into this forest about a fortnight ago, and that lean-to you're seeing over there, there was a young couple sitting there reading a book, and just behind there's a guy set up a hammock with his dog, and he was laying up reading a book. And the kid said, "Dad, there's someone in here." And I said, "Yeah, they're enjoying the forest, they're not destroying the forest." That's what we created that environment for, right? But what I look for when I come in here, I always look for nests, because it's evidence of life, always, when you see it. And if you look around some of the trees over at the embassy, you'll see nests. There's possums over there, ringtails in the area. There's kangaroo rats over there. I found that amazing that we've got kangaroo rats living in our zone. But now that we have this canopy after 12 years, this is 14 years effort on this side, it's only really 12 years effort over there, is now we're able to start putting rainforest trees in there too. Now we have a canopy, and let's see how that's going, as you can see with some of the palms and that have taken off on their own. So birds have actually birds are helping us regenerate the forest. And that's what birds do. We need to look at their role in the whole scheme of things too. The edge of it. But these are the oldest trees that you can see just standing here, and you can see that by all their twists and everything too. But there's a part of what remnant forest was left here after all their industrial work around here with the coke ovens and the mines. And there are 3 mines to the back of us from the Bulleye pit. One of those mines actually comes underneath of us and travels 8 kilometres out to sea. The seams there, they're all around the district here. Under the dams here as well, there are mines just going in all directions. Some up to 3 kilometres, some up to 10 kilometres long, some of them up to 4 or 5 metres high, by up to 50 metres to 200 metres wide. And that's fairly big an area, those gaping holes that are there. You can't backfill in them because that could cause seepage into the waterways around here, and it would just further contaminate what we drink. So that whole idea of backfilling a mine is totally off. There's nothing we can really do in that area. What happened with a major earthquake with these big holes is, do we start losing mountainside? We're seeing drainage from those suspended swamps up there that they're drying out, and the sandstone around them is starting to crumble too. Is that you don't need to be a rocket scientist to see that water is disappearing, and the obvious places that they're disappearing to is the many mines that are in this district since 1834, or 1843 I should say. When they then advanced it further, when they built the jetties here and started rolling their products down through the cake ovens directly onto the jetties and off wherever they went to. But we have 26 mines here that were operational. Those mines go right back to Picton and Tarmore. Appin Mine alone, some of the miners say there's more water in Appin Mine than there is in Sydney Harbour, and I suppose that's what's caused a lot of water to disappear up in that zone. When we look at the back of Dootchs Forest here, water holes that were some 20 feet deep, no water there at all, they're just a little trickle. So that's stuff that I've seen in my lifetime. I've seen 4 major landslides here with over 2,000 tonnes of rock slippage, sandstone. When we go down to Dumbarton, we look at the side of Mount Kira, we look at the more recent collapse up here at Wombara, you know, and there was one over the back here near Bulleye Pass, but trees have quickly recovered that area. So they're things that I've seen, even out at Avon Mountain, out the back of Brooks Ridge, West Dapto, off Horsley, off Bong Bong Road. There was major slippage out there too. Now, the way I surveyed a mine for Gujarat, they plan to come within 100 metres of the cliff face on Macquarie Pass, on that major peak that you see as you're going along Illawarra Highway towards Macquarie Pass. That peak, they intend to mine up to within 100 metres of that wall face. Now, they're very fragile cliffs out there. To the south are significant women's sites, and to the north of that pass are significant men's sites. And there's ceremonial grounds in those areas too. But the little man that we call Willanthagam, that's where he lives. We know he lives there, and we know he lives over in Jamberoo Valley as well. But people don't understand this connection with certain countries. They're rainforest people here. They're similar to the Jabberkai from Cairns and that. But they are our little area mans, what you know as the hobbits. They do exist. The public hearing at Thrill, every statement I said was just for the record. And by putting it in that context was I put them on legal notice straight away. Just for the record, there's a 6,000-year-old body in the ground. Just for the record, Sydney Water sold that body to a developer. Just for the record, that person was the daughter of the Governor-General John Kerr, Gabriel Kibble. I named her. Just for the record, isn't it amazing that when Wollongong Council was suspended for sleeping with developers, that Gabriel Kibble was engaged as the administrator of Wollongong City Council? That sounds like they're trying to cover something up to me. These old river oaks and what was up this little gullyway here. But all the other landscaping you see that's around there is what we've done to give this more life. Because it needed the birds to come in and eat off it at that as well, you know, to give it that trimming like having a haircut. So that's the first step. What I done then was I was over the back and I observed the blue tongue giving birth. So I grabbed all the blue tongues and brought them over here. You know, I went back to that spot the next day and grabbed them and brought them here. I brought echidnas on site. I brought about 7 copperheads down. There's 2 red bellies I brought here. They're part of the ecosystem. They work with the frogs, the turtles, the eels, the fish, the birds. You've got to have that if you want a thriving environment. What we have done, you'll see that evident on the pictures that we have coming into the site from both sides that talk about our land care efforts here. You'll see a lot of major Mitchells, those cockatoos and that. The birds' life here has truly thrived. But what was sad was when they started this development on this side here, and I was coming up to that corner, there was a forest there, and the black shoulder kite had a nest there. And we got this on footage, and at some point I will put that on and Environment Network to show this bird trying to defend his nest up against an excavator. And he attacked the cabin as the guy was reaching the claws out to grab his tree and to break his arm, and the black shoulder kite just went full force at the cabin, knocked himself virtually out, but got up, dusted himself off, and went back up again and tried to attack the cabin again. And that was really sad to observe, but it just showed that it wasn't something that we seen that happened here, and that bird was trying to save his home. Now, when they destroyed that forest, the birds moved into the forest directly behind us, and whatever animals and creatures were there for a habitat, they had to move across. And then what we had, they destroyed the habitat on the other side of that forest system, and then caused the little red-headed, red-breasted wrens, where that was their habitat, and they was an endangered species there. We're proud some of them are down here, which is good to see, but they moved also into that turpentine forest area, and you've seen an increase in the animal life in there as a result of both developments, the one to the north and the one to the south, had a major impact on their habitat. So it's really the only last corridor there is, but we still have the road that breaks that corridor, in this area. But we've got 4 deers are stuck over in that corner because of this development. And any fresh plants and that we're putting down is they're doing damage just over in this corner over here near the hill. But all these trees, everything you see here, has been the effort of community, and the last 4 years with Land Council jumping in and doing a lot of weed eradication and regen work here in the zone. And it's testimony when we win an award like that. I was surprised that we took out the Coast Care Award this year, on top of some other awards that were surprising too. We got awarded for taking people to court. What was a Social Justice Award from the Attorney General's office was a spin out for me, was here's this award for taking them to court. Then I get a 5 local government award for cursing the hell out of all local governments. But here he is, the representative of the year. I'm the one who's in their face all the time. But inappropriate developments on country. And this here sort of shopping for elders mentality that local governments have because of native title is they think that, we'll go and talk to one who's become a claimant. It's funny because us on the ground look at claimants as sellouts. Right? Even though we're traditional, we don't want to enter that debate because that instrument of law takes away our right to land. It's basically just negotiating a royalty or a money deal for what they're about to do to the land. So really it's not the formal compensation that we're seeking being a monetary one. It's more about recovery of that land and the preservation of that land. Now as future generations, if we don't see trees for our kids, we don't have clean water for our children, we're going to mine around these places where that is more precious than gold, more precious than diamonds. Are we going to be drinking desalinated water? Is that what we're going to end up doing? Malta doesn't have water on it. They have been drinking desalinated water most of their lives. A lot of countries around Europe are in that same boat. So here we are in a thriving environment, the whole east coast of Australia, and that's acknowledged globally, internationally, how thriving this community is. And yet overdevelopment, inappropriate development, unsustainable development is destroying that environment. We need to be conscious of our children's future, because we still got the granny vote when we get old. I'm reminding you, there will be grannies at some point. And sometimes the granny vote changes major things, So seeing this, how we've restored it, is what pleases me. I came here and sat the other day, and I think I sat here for about an hour or so. I didn't want to leave the site because I hadn't actually walked around in this section of the forest before. Off we go. Yeah, what you have, these pig faces, is as children we'd go around usually in the hotter part of the day, and get these when they're hot. See the purple flower? That's where the berry is, directly under. So it would go from this to this shape. This one here. Right. I don't know, that's supposed to look like a pig's face. But that goes the colour of that flower when it's ripe, and it's probably 4 or 5 times bigger than that. And very sweet, like blackberries, sweet.
The white fellas often think they taste like lychees.
Yeah. So yeah, it's, we have to take them home and squash them up, make jam from these here. So if we were out and you didn't have a lot of money at the beach, you go and grab a heap of these. And they always ripe in summer, so they're flowering now. So these are also good, so you get jellyfish sting. Alright, come and grab this, because these are succulents, they're no different to aloe vera. So the juice in these can be used for jellyfish sting. There you go, if anything ever happens to you when you're at the beach, always look for this stuff. Another thing, if you don't take your tanning oil or whatever when you go to the beach, yeah, roll in sand. Roll in sand before you lay down, just cover your body in sand. But we always told when we went down the beach, down to the river swimming, but when we came out of the river was to roll in clay. That was your sunscreen. So we'd roll in clay, you know, and lay up in the sun. Or if we was on the beach, we'd roll in sand before we laid on our towels or whatever.